There we go. We saw the horse, and that means we're into our last show of Inside Ogden with Mayor Matthew Godfrey. And we're joined tonight by his beautiful wife, Monica. How are both of you?
We're doing great.
This is freaky, isn't it?
It is a little weird, especially to have my wife here. I didn't know she was coming.
Well, we didn't tell you. Guess what else is going to happen this hour? We're not telling you anything.
Oh, great, yeah.
No, we don't have anything else really planned. But this is your show, and it has been for the last 7-8 years. And it's still called Inside Ogden, and you still have a phone next to you, hopefully. And the mayor is welcoming your questions, as he always does. So if you'd like to pick it up and give us a buzz, the phone number is 801-629-8411. And I bet you would love to get some questions.
I would. I mean, it's the perfect opportunity to ask the thing that you've been dying to ask and know, or the last criticism or whatever. I mean, this is your parting shots time right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
bring it on. Let's have fun for the last show.
And that's one thing, really. When you talk about it and the access that you've provided the citizens, there isn't another city, I don't think, in the country that takes advantage of their local Channel 17 on the Comcast side of things and allows citizens to do what you've allowed them to do. And I think that is to big kudos to you.
One of the things,
because you opened yourself up.
Yeah, but one of the things I hear every time I'm out in the public is that they wish they knew more about what was going on and that they had an opportunity to communicate with me and the city and know what's going on. So this was, I think it is the first also in the country. I don't know of anybody else who's done this, and the first many times it was very nerve-wracking because you never know who's going to call in and what they're going to ask and how you'll be put on the spot. But I think hopefully it's productive and hopefully people learn things, and I'm sincere in wanting people to call in and hopefully provide good communication to everybody.
We were talking about taking a template of this city station to other cities along the Wasatch Front, and inevitably what we heard was, well, we're interested in maybe the same type of programming, but the mayor would never, ever go on a live call-in show like you've done.
Yeah, most mayors are much smarter than I am.
Monica, here we are after 12 years. And it must have seemed at times like it was 12 years, times like it was 40 years, and then times like it was a couple of months. What are your feelings now as you head in to the last day in office on Monday, and then when Mike Caldwell takes the oath of office on Tuesday as the new mayor?
Well, wow. There's a lot of emotions that go through my mind. Real excited for Mike. I think he'll be great. And we're just excited to move on. It's been a great 12 years filled with lots of ups and downs. There were some really trying times, things that were really hard while he was mayor. But when I look back, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for those times too, and lots of really neat things and great people that we got to meet. And so just a whole array of emotions, but mostly excited just to move on and excited to get out of politics.
Was he pretty good at leaving the job at the office, and I'll ask both of you, or was it a good venting opportunity to you and for you to have a partner like Monica listen? So Monica, you answer first if he's pretty good about not bringing the job home, and then you answer about a sounding board.
He was pretty good at leaving it at the office, although there were some really stressful, intense times one in particular that I remember is when the junction and the megaplex, when all of that was, when he was trying to pull that all together. That came home with him, and that was challenging. But I liked to be a sounding board, and I really liked to know what was going on, so I did ask him, what's going on with this and what's going on with that, and he would tell me, and that was really fun. I got to hear about a few things before anybody else did, and that was exciting. But he's a great dad. When he came home, he really tried hard to focus on the family and spending time with us.
Same question to you, Mayor. How tough is it to go through what you go through on a full-time basis, and more than full-time basis, because we talked about it today. This is not a 40-hour-a-week job. This is a 50 to 60-hour-a-week job, and then weekends a lot of times as well to cut ribbons and be where you needed to be. How important a role is a good partner in all of this over the last 12 years and the emotions of the job?
It's hard to imagine doing it without somebody as supportive as Monica. I mean, she's really been incredible for the last 12 years, and to go home after it's usually the most stress was after city council meetings when things didn't go well or it just was hard. Monica was always very supportive, always wanted to hear what was going on, and and so I can't imagine trying to wind my way through the labyrinth of the city redevelopment and all that went on here without somebody like Monica. So she gave a lot to the city as well, because she had to deal with the long hours and dealing with the kids. We have 5 kids, and they were young, and about half of them were born while I was mayor, and so she's had a lot to do at home, and has been extremely supportive and has made things happen, and we've had to work very consciously at not bringing the job home and having our kids know of the stress and the trials and problems that existed at work. And so I guess over time we'll figure out how well we did, but it was something that we talked about a lot and we tried to make happen.
I'm almost ready to ask a couple questions, but were you blown away by the show of just numbers of people that came last week to wish you farewell? There was that was on the 23rd, I think it was.
A week ago Wednesday.
Yeah, and we got off the elevator. My wife, I point over here because my wife Terry is here, and we got off the elevator and we're like, oh my gosh, we're never going to get through this line. But all those people were there to just wish you well, and they just kept coming and coming and wishing you wellers.
Well, the key is in talking for a long time to the people that are there, and then if you talk long enough, it gets stacked up, and it looks like there are a lot of people there. Actually,
well, thanks for stacking it up for us.
Yeah. You're the last people that showed up.
We had other things to do, you know.
It was very, very kind. It's fun to see people and so many supporters over the years, and Monica hadn't met a lot of them, and so it was a great opportunity for her to talk to people and thank them. She'd heard their names, but she'd never met them in person, so it was a neat occasion.
Again, this is your show, even though we're reminiscing just a tad. It's 801-629-8411, and we would love for you to call in and ask the mayor his thoughts or questions or whatever you want on this last day. So let's talk about the one that's been in the news for the last month, and especially now in the last day and a half since the news broke last night that Chief Greiner is no longer chief of Ogden. Your overall feelings of the whole situation, and then the corner that situation on a larger scale put you into, really no way out except to ultimately let him go.
Yeah, it's, I'm heartbroken over it. This is a man who's dedicated his career to Ogden and has served for 38 years as a police officer. Many years ago, there was an open Senate seat, and he was encouraged by us to run for that seat. He had interest, and we wanted representation for Ogden, and so he did. He ran and won, and then for political purposes, somebody filed a Hatch Act violation, and which ultimately led to this federal ruling. It's terrible for somebody who, and he wasn't being a senator for selfish reasons. It didn't get him more money because our city ordinance required him to give all of his Senate pay to the city because he was on our payroll.
And so, I don't think people knew that.
They didn't. He didn't.
I still don't think they knew that.
Yeah.
Or realize that.
Yeah. Whatever they get for being a legislator came to the city. So he did not benefit monetarily by being a senator. He did it to serve the community, as he was doing as a police officer and a chief. And so this is, it's just awful that he loses his career over this and now has to go out and find employment elsewhere. It's not the way I wanted it to end, and I felt like I had to defer to the new mayor. He has the right to assemble the team that he wants to assemble, and so this was his decision on the way to proceed, and he made the call that we needed to let the chief go and not deal with the feds anymore, either by appealing it or we had some creative ways we thought we could deal with the fine, but he made the call, and I respect his ability to make that call, and I don't think it would have been right for me to intercede and jump in and get one of my team members, somebody who's been valuable to me and that I think has made a tremendous difference in this community, and lock him in for Mike's administration. I think Mike has the right to make it. But I'm heartbroken about Greiner. I mean, you look at what he's done for this community.
And you have those numbers.
Absolutely.
Throw out some numbers.
Well, in a 10-year period, so from the time I took office, so if you take the 2009 statistics through 29, you take the first decade that I was here, he reduced crime by 33%. Now, crime in the U.S. went down over that time as well, but our crime rate reduction was almost 50% more than the national average. So it wasn't that we were just caught up in the good statistics. We did innovative things that nobody else did. Many of those ideas were his and from his team that he implemented. And that's what I asked him to do. When I took office, I told him that I wanted crime to go down by 30%, a number I picked out of the air. And he did it. And he and his team gave a lot to make that happen. And so we need to honor him and thank him for all that he's done over the many, many years.
I would imagine after that type of a stellar career, he's going to land on his feet somewhere.
I would hope
Probably
so.
take a vacation with an umbrella and a little drink somewhere first, but and then come back and find somebody who's going to really appreciate what he does.
Yeah.
Does this simply mean, Mayor, that he can't be police chief in Ogden?
It can't be, as I understand it, he can't be have that career as a police officer. Not only a chief, but he can't be a police officer for 18 months or some time period like that. So that's why I say it's ruined his career. He has to do something new now in order to feed his family.
Interesting. Well, we'll follow that, and we'll follow that with Mayor Caldwell as well.
And yeah, he's taken it so well. I mean, he's just been a real gentleman and just said, I just want to serve this community, and if that's the best thing for the community, I'm okay with it, and I'll find something else to do. I mean, who else has made that kind of a sacrifice for Ogden? Who has given up their career because they wanted to help this community? So, great man.
One of the things that he did ultimately a couple of weeks ago, and it happened since we spoke here, and I wanted to ask you about it, and that was the shutting down for at least a year's period of time of the Courtyard Inn. And nobody's really had an opportunity to explain it at length or as long as they would want to. And it's interesting to see the different media takes, as it always is.
Yeah.
But we opened it up. Everybody was here that day. All the cameras were here. And some talked about it one way and some talked about it, the people just being kicked out. But so the people understand the hearing process and what you went through with the police department before signing. Would you explain that?
Sure. When you get a business license, you agree to do a list of things. You comply with the laws and basically not bother your neighbors, to conduct your business in a way that it doesn't adversely affect those around you. Well, this place had a history of having knowledge of and allowing criminal activity to take place on their property. And so there was a hearing where I was the hearing officer, and they came in and presented me a binder full of evidence of criminal actions that had taken place with the owners and the managers' knowledge. They were there and they disputed virtually nothing of that entire hearing, and just were saying, well, we'll do better from now on. Well, this has been going on for years, and they had been warned about this on multiple occasions, and so the action was taken to revoke their business license. So their hotel tenants had to leave, and the media, as you said, it was interesting. They were picking up on these poor people that were living in the hotel that were going to have to relocate. Well, that's against the law. They're not supposed to have people living in the hotel. They, by the city laws or ordinances, they're not allowed to stay for a prolonged period of time. That becomes an apartment, and they're not an apartment; they're a hotel. So it's really fascinating that the media was actually showing how they were in fact breaking the law by having these long-term tenants that had no business living there in the first place.
And if I understand correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think about the longest you could stay in a hotel is what, a week at a time for a month period, or
I think it's 30 days.
30 days, yeah.
And there are exceptions to that. If you're here on a work contract and they can come and show that they're here, because we have that. People, construction workers, or somebody gets a job at Hill Air Force Base or something like that, and if that's the case, then they can stay longer. But for just a regular guest, it's a 30-day stay, which is a pretty long hotel stay for those of us that are regular hotel users.
Question for Monica, since you're going to be here with us for just a little bit tonight. How are you going to keep him from wanting to, well, you're not going to want to attend city council meetings, I don't think, but wanting to know everything that's going on all the time in the city? Is that going to be easy, or are you going to wean him off of the mayorship?
I think he'll transition pretty well, actually. There may be times when we want to follow what's going on, but I don't think I'll have to do a whole lot. I think he's ready to move on.
You're going to miss the city council? At least the meetings.
There are some wonderful people and friends on the council, and I will miss them dearly. The political process is designed to be frustrating. It's designed to have open meetings and slow processes so that there's lots of opportunity for the public to engage and make sure that crazy things aren't happening overnight. So, but it's excruciating. We've been doing it for 12 years to grind through all the machinations of trying to have progress happen in your town. It is a mind-numbing experience. So I'll be excited to move on.
Do we have the freedom to ask what you might be doing as of Monday and Tuesday?
Sure. We're going to be creating jobs in Ogden. So
Sweet.
I'll be president of a new company here in town, and we're going to be hiring and hopefully growing a lot.
And we'll find out a little bit more about that next Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll announce it next week.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about, because you did it for the last 2 months, and this was the constant universal theme on this show, you would say that there was going to be a new company moving to Ogden. I would ask really when, who is it, and how many jobs, and you would say, well, I really can't say. So a month ago, as we sat here, you were talking about there might be another company, and I haven't asked where that is. But it was a significant number of jobs, and I don't know if they went away or if it's still on the table.
It's still on the table. They are still in the wings, and we hope that they make an announcement really soon. But I called a couple days ago to see if we could make an announcement before I left office, because this is one that I've worked on personally for a long time. It's about 1,000 jobs over a many-year period, and they add about, as I recall, it's about 200 jobs a year until they get up around 1,000 jobs. So they are not yet ready. They're waiting actually for, it's a airplane manufacturing company, and they're waiting for a document from the FAA. And once that happens, and it is supposed to happen, I'm really hopeful that they'll be making an announcement. So I don't know how long, and then they have to go through the state process. So they have to actually decide on Ogden and then go through the state process. So if all of those things happen, in the next month or two, there should be an announcement of a major employer coming in town.
Wow, we'll follow up on that as well. And that's one of the things that I wrote down here was, what did it take to really recruit jobs to Ogden? I would imagine, and I know you've stated and told me, you could come in and work from 8 to 5 doing mayoral signings of papers and answering questions and going to cabinet meetings and call it good and have a very busy day. But when you want to get into this realm of creating jobs, that just takes the mayorship to a whole new level. And it's kind of like the chicken and the pig, right? They walk by the store and the chicken says, eggs this much for a dozen. Oh, look, I make a dedication to giving the chicken. They walk by the bacon store and they said, for you, it's a commitment. For me, it's a total, for you, a dedication. For me, a total commitment on the bacon side. And that seems like what is happening on the recruitment of jobs.
Yeah, the job is very intense, obviously. I mean, you have 750 employees in the peak season, and it goes down to about 500 in the off season, with tremendous diversity just in terms of management. $120 million budget, and political challenges, and I, at one point I sat on, I think, 23 committees or boards. And then I probably signed my name hundreds of thousands of times over the last 12 years. It's amazing how many documents have to be read through and signed. So, and then I averaged, well over 100 email a day, and then a stack of mail that's probably, my basket is probably 2 or 3 inches thick every day that I would go through. So, you're right.
But you were an optimistic person. You saw your basket as 2/3 full and not 1/3 empty.
That's right, because that means opportunity.
Opportunity
right?
knocks.
So just doing that, and then the meetings that you have throughout the day, people who want to come in and meet with you, there's easily 8 hours of work just doing that. And so the challenge is, how do you get that done? Because you have to do those things, but then go out and do the proactive things. And so what we did is, I would dedicate days and hours to cold calling CEOs. I would attend trade shows of the clusters that we were going after for the ski industry and the outdoor industry. Then I'd go to those trade shows and just walk around and meet the president of the company, tell him about Ogden, and then follow up on those that showed some interest. So it's a lot of work, and it's not glamorous. It's not fun to go and be a salesman for your town, but those are some of the things we did, and along with a host of others. We worked very closely with the state, and the Economic Development Corporation of Utah have become very close partners with ours in recruiting businesses. They know that we will show the state in Ogden better than anybody else. So we have the presentation down. We know how to treat them, and so we get a lot of looks from companies that other cities don't get because we have made it an expertise that we have, and they know that it's core to our mission to bring jobs. Other cities don't recruit jobs; they just recruit big box retail stores. But our belief is that because there's no money for cities in jobs directly, but we believe that if we create that rising tide, that we will benefit in the long run, and that's proven to be true.
Well, and you got time and a half on the trade shows, didn't you?
Yeah. Time and a half more hours.
Yeah, time and a half more hours. And Monica was right, honey, you don't have to go to these things. No other mayors are going, but that's okay. You knew it would be a good thing for Ogden.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and he, I don't know that the citizens of Ogden would realize this, but he did not go to what's the convention, the mayor convention they have in Washington, D.C., even the leagues of cities and towns, and just a lot of those meetings where public officials get together and talk about things. And he didn't feel like, for him personally, he didn't feel like that was the best use of his time. And so he didn't go on a lot of those trips, but these other trips where he could actually meet people that he could recruit to our town, he felt like those were important, and I supported him because I think he was right.
And one of those meetings, or several of those conversations, dealt with the issue of whether or not we should have a streetcar. And we've been talking about that for a lot of our shows here, and then new studies came in that said the numbers were 80,000 times larger than they were originally written down. As you leave office, what are your opinions now on where the process of the streetcar is and what the City Council is looking at on their agenda in the next couple of weeks even?
Well, it's fascinating because during the election, all the candidates, including the city council members, I shouldn't say all, but the members, including members of the city council who had been staunch supporters of the streetcar, backed away because it is not, when you're out knocking doors, it is not a popular issue. People are like, wow, why in the world would we be spending $160 million to take students from the train station up to campus and $3.5 million a year? I mean, how does that make sense that we would spend our tax dollars in that way? And so even the staunch supporters backed totally off of the streetcar during the election cycle, but only waiting for me to get out of office because I spent so much time on this. I was a big proponent of this project to begin with. That's why it started. I mean, I talked to the council about this, and we worked on it with UTA, but the numbers, after having gone through all that, it just does not make sense. It's no way we can afford to do it. And the council, they're still wanting to move forward with it. And so they're just waiting till I'm out of office because I told them I'm not going to spend another dime on this until you can show me how you pay for it. I'm not going to spend another dime wasting taxpayers' money. So what they decided to do was just wait me out. So on January 10th, a week after I'm out of the first council meeting after I'm gone, they have it on the agenda. They're going to talk about doing yet another study, which will mean more money, more taxpayer dollars to go out and study this thing. And it's just, and so they need to hear from you. I mean, if you're all supportive of it, then I guess you can let them know that. I don't know how you're going to pay for it, how we're going to pay for it, but I just, even though I was a big supporter of it early on, the more I've learned, the more I've just come to the realization that there's no way we have the density, the ridership, or the money to pull this thing off. And if you don't want to see more of your tax dollars, we've spent millions of dollars studying this over the last, I think it's been 7 or 8 years. And they're poised to do much, much more of that unless they hear from people. So you've got to speak up. You got to call your council members, and somebody has to show up. I've tried to be your representative, and the things that I hear, I try to, go and stand up and fight for. And I'm a little concerned about who's going to do that now, and so people need to show up. You need to email, call your council members, and show up to meetings and let them know if you're concerned about wasting more money in these areas.
And the other issue that we've been talking about over the last 2, 3 months, 4 months is also the water rates, with more studies. And where is that as you leave office now?
Well, in the same situation. I mean, you're being overcharged today. If you're an Ogden City resident or business owner, you're being overcharged for your water. And we provided a solution, and because people didn't clamor for their rates to go down, they decided that they're going to do another study, and they're going to take it on in a year. So it's just, and that's just the mode they're in. The council feels very safe doing studies, spending money before taking action. And they're getting paid. They're getting paid a lot of money, and they're getting a raise here next month. And I think that we ought to be very careful about those kinds of studies, and I think we just ought to dig in as elected officials and pour through the data and make decisions, rather than being able to point to somebody else who does that work for us and saying, well, they told us this is what should happen. Because they really are involved in the decision, but when you hire somebody to go through the data, then you have somebody to point at, and when there's opposition to it politically. So and that will continue. I mean, this is politics, and I guess my plea to the community would be, you have to get engaged in your town. If you want things to go in a positive direction, if you want money to be spent on things that will benefit you and your family, if you want it to, we could put, for what they'll spend in studies on just these two things, you could have completely new playground equipment put into probably 3 different parks. But instead, that money's going to go, it'll just be flushed down the toilet for these studies that ultimately are going to, there's no way they're going to build those. So, it's your money, and it can benefit your community, but you have to speak up, and you have to make your voice heard. And we're all busy, and that's the challenge, is that we pay attention to that which feels most urgent. But if you could carve out a little time to make a phone call or send an email, it doesn't take very much time, and it will make a difference.
I want to talk to you about your cabinet members. I don't want you might forget somebody, because that happens every once in a while, but just so the people know, your overall feelings to the people that have, not from 8 to 5, but from whatever, midnight, 24/7, 365 a year, really given their time to Ogden and worked with you closely in the employment of Ogden City. What are your feelings as you leave those folks behind now?
They're great professionals who have given a lot of time. I don't think the community realizes how much time these people give. The CAO, Mark Johnson, gets here at 6 in the morning, 6:30, and he'll work till, some nights till 9 or 10 if there's a council meeting or other activity, but regularly is here until 6:30 or 7 at night on regular days, and then on council days, as I mentioned, he'll be here later than that. So these guys it's not your typical government job, where they're working 8 hours and then getting out of here. We never went to the 4-day work week because we realized we just would be cutting out a day of time for the managers and the directors. So they're very, very conscious about this is your money and your community, and they want this place to shine, and they work their fingers to the bone to do really amazing things. We get more done. If you look at the administration here, I think we are probably the most efficient government of any in the state of Utah. And the state of Utah is known to be the most efficient government in the country. And so our guys do a really, really good job, and they work very hard. And you should be proud of what you get out of the people that are employed here. I could go through every one of them.
And you wouldn't forget anybody. I know. You're really good at that.
Police chief, we've talked about, John Griner, tremendous individual. Our fire chief, Mike Matthew, has been the fire chief the entire time I've been in office and does a phenomenal job. He's highly regarded. He's been elected to be the head of the Fire Chiefs Association in the state, and has continually reduced the general fund budget year after year while improving service. So service has gone up, and he's reduced the general fund budget tremendously over the past 12 years. Mark Johnson, the CAO, I mentioned his hard work and the ethics of this man, but he's just a great asset. Works hard, has very good people skills. He during the legislative session, on top of the 60 hours he already works, he'll go down there and then do lobbying for the 45 days that the session's in. So great individual and great leader in the community. Gary Williams, our city attorney, is just a fantastic attorney. He's helped us reduce the costs as well. He's done some things to reduce lawsuits and the expense of lawsuits. We're always going to have them, unfortunately. People like to sue cities, and that's not something we're not going to get out of. But he manages the costs and has helped us win more cases than we have in a long time. So he's fantastic as well. We have an opening in management services because we moved Mark Johnson up. But we also have Richard McConkey, who's been at the city 28 years as a deputy or the director of community and economic development, and so his career has been here. And the team in the economic development department is absolutely phenomenal. They are better than any team in the state by far. I would put them up against any economic development team in the country. They are just a great group that achieves great results. And Richard's head that up. And also into that is the planning and zoning. We hear a lot about, in fact, over the years, we've probably had some calls from companies saying, when are you going to make this more friendly to builders? Well, we're the second lowest in the state for building permit fees. We've been recognized by the Association of Realtors and the Home Builders Association for the many improvements we've made in our one-stop shop to make it easier for builders. So all of that has happened, and much more in the Economic Development Department are under Richard McConkey's lead right now, so we're grateful to him. And the public ways, parks, a lot of the things that you see, your water, sewer, as well as parks and recreation, all falls under Jay Louder. And Jay is just the most dedicated guy. He works tremendous hours again. He'll work weekends when he doesn't have to drive a snowplow truck, but if it's snowing, you can better believe that he's up. He'll be down in the office and making sure that everything's running the way it should. Just a great individual, and we get so much out of him, and he's turned that department around and made people work together. Then he has probably cut, well over $1 million out of the budget in the time that he's been in management over there, by consolidating and finding ways to save money. And you don't hear about those things because they just aren't sexy enough for the newspaper to pick up on. But we have consolidated, cut budgets, and saved a lot of money. And Jay has done a phenomenal job. He's very much a can-do guy. And I told you I wasn't going to miss anybody.
I should have been taking notes, but I don't.
I think I got them all because management services.
Did he miss anybody, Monica?
So, I think he got them all.
Police, fire. If I forgot anybody, I'll remember them and throw them in. And then we have the huge group of people who was here before, and Stuart Reed, who gave a lot for this community, and Norm Ashton moved over to be a justice court judge, but we have had a lot of people who've given their heart and soul to this community, have made a tremendous difference, and so I'm grateful to all of them for all that they've accomplished and made happen over the years.
Lessons learned. What do you think?
Oh, what do you think?
Lessons for a lifetime. Family lessons, personal lessons. What lessons did he learn? You would know.
Oh, I think we have. I think we have learned a lot. I think you find out who your true friends are in politics for sure, and we're really grateful for those people who've stuck by us. And I think it just reminds you during those times when things were hard and you felt like some of those low points when Matthew wondered if things were going to come together and was Ogden going to turn around, maybe 6 years ago or so, and we worry, well, what if it doesn't come together? What if Ogden didn't turn around? I think we just realized that, our marriage and our values and our beliefs are really what drive us and motivate us, keep us happy.
Yeah, I'd agree, and you have a real sense of what people's motivations are the longer you've been in office, especially now. There's a lot of people who stopped calling, and we knew that would happen, but and that's okay. But I think part of the lessons learned for me is that to make things happen, you have to be out on the edge, and you have to push the political envelope, and the government, moves very slowly and is very reluctant to change. But it's possible and it's necessary that if a town is going to succeed, you have to continually be finding new and better ways of doing things and reinventing yourself and pushing the organization. And that's not been comfortable for anybody. It's not, there are things that are more fun to do as a leader than always pushing inside and then outside. But we didn't have a choice. We had to make things happen very quickly and build enough momentum that the market would come in and really help revitalize this community. And we can only do that by making big, bold decisions that some people didn't like. And we were told many, many times that we would fail, and that was kind of during the dark days, as Monica talked about. There were times when we hoped we would succeed. You recruit in Larry Miller to build theaters, and you really hope people are going to show up and go see the movies and go to the Solomon Center, and those things have been very, very successful, luckily. But if we would have listened to many members of the community that were prominent and were saying, this is too risky and we can't afford this, and we kept saying, we can't afford not to do this. We can't afford to continue to sit on our hands, because we're going to pay money. We're going to pay money to clean up the blight. We're going to pay money to go chase criminals around. And we're going to pay money by losing tax revenue over time. Or we can spend money to clean up the town and to generate more money. And it's a matter of what you'd rather do. Would you rather, that's the whole, ambulance versus a fence. You can spend money building a fence on the edge of a cliff or spend money running an ambulance around. You're going to spend money either way. And so, we've been, I hope courageous, but that we've been pushing the envelope to try to make things happen. And I think, and I know at times it was hard on the community, that we pushed things that was uncomfortable for everybody. And I'm sorry about that. I wish there was an easier way to do it. I'd have loved an easier way.
One of the things I think, I don't want to interrupt it, and I just wrote down IT, and that's because, one of the most wired cities in the United States, and then the first city in the nation with your own app to make things easier. And your IT department pulled that off. But then it was very innovative thinking on the part of the city to say, here we are, we've got all these things here now, IT department or whoever, take it and let people know about it. And they did. And they were written up in different magazines and that type of thing too. But that was a huge step for the city of this size to say, we have these things happening. Let's make sure our citizens know and have access to them.
Yeah. Our IT department's done a great job, and we have been innovative, and we've been very fortunate to win a lot of national awards as well as local ones for what we've done. And there's more to do. We're laying out the next 10 years, and they now are laying out the next 10 years in IT and what we're going to do. But we're going to continue to innovate and lead, because it ultimately saves you money. The more we can do online, the fewer bodies we need here, and the better access to resources and communication we can provide the citizens. So I think an investment in IT is critical, and I'm sure it will continue.
And then there is this station. And every time somebody watches, I refer to Bill every once in a while. Vince is here tonight. To make this station work like this has been incredible. It really has. And Bill Francis Imagination Company, and there's always some member of the Francis family here to make that happen. But you made it happen, and you wanted to give the citizens of Ogden their own little view into the city. And that took a huge commitment.
It did, and everybody forgets how controversial it was at first, that I'm pretty sure that we got taken to the woodshed over this, didn't we, Bill, when we launched it? Oh, you weren't here at the very, very beginning. We did.
That woodshed, that got a workout, didn't it?
the farmers market and the marathon. Everything we did was, rife with controversy and people, naysayers, telling us it wasn't going to work. And every step of the way has kind of been that way. And when we said we're going to be the outdoor high adventure recreation capital, I had some of the most prominent leaders in the community, well respected, coming up to me and saying, that's a nice goal, but that's never going to happen. We're never going to achieve that. And
remember when you built the amphitheater? They didn't want the trees torn down, and Christmas Village. Remember how everybody threw a fit about moving Christmas Village? And
you're going to have lots of chuckles, aren't you? You guys are going to have some fun chuckles over the next, well, not really, but just fond memories for the most part.
Yeah, I think
we came,
so.
We saw, we did.
We tried. We tried to do what we thought was best for the community, and we just figured that somebody was going to have to take a licking to make that happen. And and I didn't. It's not that I relished that. It's not that I enjoyed it. I know there are people who think that I do, but it just was. I think it had to be done. And
well, even those people ran out of comments after a while.
Yeah, they stopped attending city council meetings. That was nice, because we were pummeled every week by people at city council, and they've gone away pretty much.
Well, that's good. Well, Mayor, I wanted on a personal note just to say thank you because I've been a part of this, I think, for about 6 years, maybe 7. And it's been a privilege to sit here once a month with you and then counsel with you on other things as well, and hopefully get Ogden's name out there. I think we're about 360 articles in now, maybe pushing 400 in about Ogden over the last several years. So thanks for that opportunity of allowing me to play a little part and be a part with the Godfrey family. I'm your eldest son now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Hopefully,
and how old are you?
I'm just 53 going on 14 into Pinewood Derby, which you're an expert at.
Excellent. Yeah, I love Pinewood Derby. You've been a great help to this town and this station, and you bring so much professionalism and credibility, I think, to the show. So thank you for what
Well,
you've
hopefully
done.
people are taking notice of Ogden, and that happens to this city through this station and the Imagination Company. And we're going to say goodnight, but there were just a few other people that wanted to say goodbye to you as well. And so we'll say goodbye for right now, and then we'll sit here and listen to the rest of you. And we could only fit so many of you in. But Mayor, from an entirely grateful community, thank you, and Monica, for loaning him to us for 12 years. From the bottom of our hearts, this city will never be the same, and you have an imprint on this city that will never, ever go away, and you have to know that.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. It's been a lot of fun. We've enjoyed the ride.
A few other people wanted to say thanks as well. This is Inside Ogden. We'll see you back here again with Mayor Mike Caldwell next month.
I'm Dan Musgrave with Downtown Ogden, Inc. And Mayor Godfrey, we just wanted to say thank you for all you've done and everything that's taken place in our community. When I came into town, I remember that there was graffiti and downtown was dark and dirty and dangerous, and now it is beautiful and wonderful and lighted, and really the turnaround has been nothing short of miraculous. And you've been our leader, and we've all jumped on and taken pieces and different things, and it's been phenomenal what has taken place, and we all have great pride in our community, and I appreciate your friendship and your leadership and wish you well going forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Melissa Hinkle. I was the executive secretary to Mayor Godfrey, and I would just like to say that it was an honor to work for him. I love Ogden. I love everything that's going on here. He is a phenomenal individual, very humble, very honest, and very hardworking. I would like to thank him for everything he's done here in the city and wish him well on his endeavors in his new journey.
Hi, my name is John Greiner. I'm the Chief of Police of Ogden, Utah. I've been so for the last 16 years, so I've got to see the entire 12-year term of Mayor Matthew Godfrey. And without a doubt and unequivocally, he has done more for this city the last 12 years than any man should have been asked to do, given the way the city has morphed and changed into the way it is today. And it's sad, I suppose, that we don't recognize the amount of commitment and loss of time with his family and those kinds of things that have happened. He has been a soldier. He's done all the right things. And with that comes the banner of a little controversy. It's unfortunate that too many people play on that controversy and are what I consider to be the cheap shot artists sitting in the stands of the arena, afraid to get into the arena of life or this city and do the right things for the community going forward. There's always a critic, but until you get in the shoes of somebody who actually stood in the arena and did what was necessary, you're a very shallow person. And unfortunately, again, there have been too many of those during his administration who just weren't a part of advancing the vision that he's had for Ogden.
I'm Todd Brinkman. I'm the PGA golf professional at El Monte and Mount Ogden Golf Courses. And Mayor, it's been a heck of a run, and I sure appreciate all your support over the years and helping us get going in a new direction with our fantastic 2 golf courses, and most importantly, as a resident of this town and growing up in this town, the changes have been just amazing in the last 12 years. You know, to drive around and see all of the new development, to see the junction. You've had an incredible impact on this town, and to reinvent it from an old railroad town to a recreation destination was no easy feat, and you were the right guy to do it. So again, thank you for the opportunity, and it was a pleasure working with you.
My name's Trace Farron, longtime citizen of Ogden, Utah. And you know, the last 12 years have been just awesome under the guidance of Mayor Matt Godfrey. I've seen this city grow, become something that I'm interested in, and that's kind of a mecca of recreation and outdoor activity. And that's the kind of work that I'm in, and The progress that we've made as a community has been absolutely amazing, and I think we can all look to one person for guiding us that way, and that's Mayor Godfrey. Thanks, Mayor. You've done a great job. We'll miss you.
Hi, this is Ian Houghton. I've been involved in a number of organizations in the city. My big focus has been recreation development, so I helped start the curling club, and I've been involved with, I helped get Da Vinci Academy going. The mayor set me up with that. And I was on the Parks and Rec Advisory Board for a number of years, and then moved to the Planning Commission. And all through that, I've really been conscious of the mayor driving large projects and trying to make things happen in the city. And so I just wanted to thank you, Mayor, for your energy and your vision in terms of making our city a better place. And I'm looking to stay here, and I hope my daughter's looking to stay here. And that's a big part of that is because of you and your efforts. So thanks for all that.
I'm Sherry Farron. And lately I've been sort of the mayor's artist. I've been lucky to do a horse for you and the beautiful mural downtown, and now you're present. And I just wanted to say thank you for sharing the mayor position with me. That was really fun. And you're an awesome guy, and we've loved what you've done, and we'll really miss you, Matt. Thank you.
I'm Assistant Chief Wayne Tarwater, and I just want to say that I really appreciate Mayor Godfrey for his insight and vision over the years. Some people think maybe sometimes he pokes and prods a little too much, but you know, it's the poking and prodding that keeps things moving along, and he's done a great job, and Ogden has certainly benefited from his vision. So thank you, Mayor.
I'm Marcy Korginski, Assistant Chief for the Police Department. I would like to thank Mayor Godfrey for all of his hard work and effort, and for his expectations of us as employees, and all of us together have strived to work harder to help him make Ogden a better place than what it is today. So thank you, Mayor Godfrey.
I'm Jay Louder, Public Service Director for Ogden City. I just want to say thanks to Mayor Godfrey for everything he's done for this community for the last 12 years. He's the only one that could create the synergy that we're experiencing today and the hope for the future that we have for tomorrow. And I know he's done it on a lot of hard work with very little gratitude. So our hats are off to you, Mayor, and thank you for everything you've done.
Mayor Godfrey, Kurt Geiger here.
I think you have to introduce yourself first.
Oh, do I?
So.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Kurt Geiger here with his wife. I married my trophy wife, as you know, 40 years ago. But Mayor Godfrey, I want to thank you for all that you did for Ogden, Utah, and all that you accomplished, and you brought the best out of everybody. And the legacy that you've left will be here a long, long time.
Mayor, thank you for everything that you've done for the city. Loved every single minute working with you and making this happen. So we just appreciate you so much, and it's going to be a great place for our grandkids now to grow up. So Thank you so much.
God bless.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Christy Shaw, and I worked for Mayor Godfrey for 8.5 years. And I just want to let him know that it was such an honor and a privilege. He's done so much for Ogden. The town is just coming along, and he was just tireless and effortless, and I just love him. So thank you, Mayor Godfrey. We all really appreciate you.
I'm Richard McConkey, the Director of the Community and Economic Development Department. We have worked closely with Mayor Godfrey over the past 12 years, and it's been an incredible ride. He has initiated projects that a lot of people thought never could happen. They're iconic. They've changed the future of Ogden. He's raised it to a whole another level, and it's really been a pleasure and a real opportunity to work with Matt Godfrey. I'll always be appreciative of that opportunity that it afforded not only me, but my staff, the business development staff, and the community and economic development planning, the whole gamut. So, Mayor, personally, I thank you very much for your contributions. You've truly made a difference, and Ogden is a different place because of you.
My name's Kim Bouchard. I own Roosters Brewing Company and Union Grill, and I've been down here for 15 and 20 years respectively with my businesses. And I just want to say thanks to Matt Godfrey. In the last 12 years, I am stunned at what has happened downtown and in the Ogden area community. I am proud to live here. I'm even a little bit choked up saying goodbye. I'm excited for the new mayor, Mike Caldwell, to come in. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. But I think that Mayor Matt Godfrey has given it his heart and soul. And he has made this a place that I am hoping that my children will consider coming back and living after they go to college and doing their thing. And I just want to say thanks, Matt Godfrey, and look forward to years to come, and your legacy is going to be big. Thank you.
I'm Tom Christopoulos. I am in charge of doing economic development in the city of Ogden and have been doing so for the last 5 years. We're going to miss the mayor and his direction and his insistence on rebuilding the community, and his drive has always been very valuable into making sure we realize what we're trying to accomplish. And so we'll try to continue on with the legacy that he's established and the pace and some of the things that have kept us going over these last years and all of the accomplishments. So hopefully we'll see him around and he'll stay part of the community and keep helping us out.
I'm Susie Van Hoosier. I'm serving on the Ogden City Council at large seat A, and I wish to thank the mayor for his service and let him know that the city will continue and that we appreciate all of his efforts, his tireless efforts, and the city will be still moving forward.
My name is Gary Nielsen. This is my son Casey and my son Dustin. We were fortunate enough to get involved in business in downtown Ogden. 1993, we got the opportunity to buy the Deseret Gymnasium. Because of Mayor Godfrey's vision, we had the opportunity 5 years ago to be involved in the Solomon Center and the transformation of downtown Ogden. We want to thank Mayor for his diligence and his hard work and his vision, and for all of his staff that help us create such a wonderful business and icon downtown that is getting international recognition. Thank him for that change and for the rehabilitation of downtown and the vision for the future. We really appreciate his hard work and thank him and his family for all they've put up with in the difficult times getting these the changes done. We really appreciate what he's done.
Hi, I'm Cindy Wheeloff, and I've had the opportunity to work for Mayor Godfrey as an assistant in his administration, and it has been a wonderful opportunity. And Mayor, I want to thank you, and words will probably fail to encompass everything that the gratitude that I feel for you and the things that you've done. And I wish you the best of luck. Thanks.
Rich Koski with the Ogden Weber Convention Visitors Bureau. I moved here 8 years ago, near the end of the mayor's first term. The Ogden area was my choice. I took a lot of time looking for a great place to live, and I made the right decision. And the mayor is responsible for me being very happy here. It's a community that I love. My job is selling the community to meeting convention groups and events, and the mayor has made our job very easy. And Mayor Godfrey, good luck in your next endeavors. We all are indebted to you. Have a great community to live in.
Hi, I'm Mark Johnson. I work here at the Ogden City and have had the privilege of working for Mayor Matthew Godfrey for the last 8 years and have worked with him for even longer. How delightful it's been to work with this man who has vision and drive and has done so much for our city. We appreciate him and his family for their sacrifices and for their willingness to be such an influence within our city and to move it forward. We wish them the very best in the future and hope that all the support and that he has received in the last 12 years to move this forward will continue. We as employees want to see the city to continue to prosper and grow and become what it should become in the future. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard Brookins, manager of Fleet and Facilities. I've been with the city 17 years and had the pleasure of working with the mayor for the last 12. It's been a great experience, and the number of things that we've accomplished and gotten done with his guidance and direction have been astronomical. It's been really an experience to see the city transform during the time that I've been here, and so we should all be grateful and thankful for his leadership and what's been done. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to tell you that.
My name's Brandon Stevenson. Been a member of the Ogden City Council for the last 8 years. Served with Mayor Godfrey. for all of that time. And in fact, the reason why I got into politics in the first place was because of Matt, the work he's been doing in the city. It's clear for anybody that looks around that Ogden is a different place than it was when he took the reins 12 years ago. And I think the city is indebted to him for all of his hard work and diligence and the difficult decisions that he made along the way. And I've been happy to be a part of that. In any degree, grateful for the opportunity to get to know him. I consider Mayor Godfrey a friend, and I wish him well in the future. And all I can say is that Ogden will never be the same again. It will continue to increase and grow and be a better place, and largely that's due to him and his influence in Ogden. So.
My name's Reed Richards. I'm a local attorney and have been involved in government work for many, many years in a variety of ways. I've worked with the county and with the state and some with the city, and just appreciate very much the effort and work that Matt Godfrey has put into the job as mayor. Having lived in Ogden City all my life, looking at the changes that we have in the city and the look of the city now as opposed to 12 years ago, it's just dramatic. And he's done a wonderful job of pushing people along. With enough pushing, you can accomplish quite a lot. I think that's been his philosophy, and it's been successful.
I'm Craig Dearden on the Weber County Commission. I've had the opportunity to work with Mayor Godfrey the last 7 years, and it's been a pretty good partnership. He has had a real positive outlook. He's wanted Ogden to succeed. His whole life, I think, surrounded Ogden and making sure that it was a better place when he left than when he came in, and I think he's accomplished that. He's brought a lot of business to Ogden and has really worked selflessly to see that Ogden succeeded and is a great place to live.
I think we need to make sure Matt stays involved, because a lot of these things, his gentle push or hard push is going to be very helpful.
I'm Bob Hunter. I'm president of the United Way of Northern Utah. 12 years ago, I was a candidate for mayor of Ogden, along with Mayor Godfrey. He won, and I did not. But we became fast friends, and it's not often that politicians who are in the same contest together become that, but we did. And we've accomplished a lot of things together, and I can't say how proud I am to have been his friend and his associate, and to have watched him do the fantastic things he's done for our community that we both love. And I certainly wish him and his family well.
And Mayor, I feel a little awkward sitting in this chair. I should be over here a little bit, but it's okay. My chance to say you've given us a chance of a lifetime here to be part of this show once a month, sometimes twice a month over the past several years. With the Imagination Station's Bill Francis, who runs your television station, we really could literally only imagine the possibilities that this TV station could bring to your local community. And it was a pleasure for me to ask questions every single month on my own, and some with your help, and then get some questions from the people who called in. All the way from, hey, what's the smell at the bread factory, to what are we going to do with about dog foods and chickens in yards. It's been quite a run, Mayor, and it's been a lot of fun. And so until we do this again, this is Inside Ogden and Inside the Life of Matthew Godfrey. We'll see you.